So 3 months ago, my friend Tony and I were having a conversation. Tony had been in Cisco for, like 15 years. He'd been in sales a long time. And then he pivoted career-wise and went into sales enablement. And now he's at Price Waterhouse. He's at PwC. So I thought the conversation was pretty casual and just sort of, off the top of my head, because I knew what sales enablement was. Sales enablement is a day or two of training once a year that you have to go to. Or it's these really tedious and boring live WebExes that you have to watch every week or two, company mandated. And, well, no, because Tony takes sales enablement and he turns it so that I can see it the way that he sees it, and my brain exploded. Do you know what great sales enablement is? Clearly, I didn't. So I talked to sales leaders, sales enablement leaders around the country, big companies, small companies, organizations that reported to marketing, organizations that reported to sales. Big difference, by the way. Might want to keep that in mind later. Here's my definition of it. No, wait, hold on. We need to go back about half a step. If you're already in complex B2B sales, you already know this, I think, or should know it. But just in case, let's take half a step back and talk about transactional sales and complex sales. Transactional sales can be 100% online. You literally never touch the product or see it in real life before you buy it. And more importantly, you never deal with a salesperson. That company might not even have salespeople in a 100% transactional selling and buying process. So how much of the buying process today for complex stuff is done online? No one actually knows for sure, but it's at least half, about 55%, and as much as 67%. The customer has almost all the information that they need gathered beforehand before they even allow a salesperson or a company to come in and talk to them. And it also means that everything from demos to building rapport, everything has to be shrunk into a very small, approximately 33% window near the end of the sales process. This is changing complex sales. One way is that there's less and less room for error, less and less time to recover from a stumble. And the other way is that it's much harder to differentiate your product, your company, and yourself. Automation has destroyed most of the lower skilled sales jobs, and it's putting pressure on the higher skilled sales jobs. So today we rely on marketing more than ever. They have to ensure that our company is discovered during the customer's first 66% of the buying process, which is pretty much all done online. We need to be one of the vendors invited in to that final 33% of the buying process. So how do we succeed in that last 33% of the buying process, especially since we know it's going to become a 23% window and a 13% window down the road? Well, enter sales enablement to the rescue. Their job is to understand what marketing is saying, use that information when they're onboarding new salespeople and when they're educating the current sales force, keeping in mind the entire time that 33% window at the end of the buyer's process. Sales is getting harder and harder. You need your sales enablement team to level up if they haven't already. That starts now. First, you need to insist on better content. If sales enablement at your company means live WebExes, then you need to complain, especially if they're live WebExes where nobody involved in creating them understands how to keep an audience's attention. I'm going to talk about that in the next video. But essentially, live WebExes are done because they're cheap and they're easy, not because they're good at delivering information, not because they're automatically good at keeping attention. Other companies have gotten past this. They have apps that you use on your phone when you're in sales. They don't require you to use a VPN in your company laptop just to connect and watch some boring video. They create content in smaller pieces so that you can consume it during spare moments. Look, you are sales enablement's customer. It's their job to meet you where you are. It's their job to adapt to your reality. It's their job to make content that's worth your time and your attention. Content that's been formed into a story so that it's easy for you to remember it and use it at the right time when you're in front of a customer. If what you're getting from sales enablement, if what you're getting from your company doesn't match up to what your competitors' salespeople are getting, then you need to complain. So that was number one. If you're not getting what you should be getting, complain. Make them get better. Force them and require them to get better. Secondly, and finally for this video, when you start interviewing for your next sales job at a different company, make sure you don't accept any offer or even go too far down the process without looking at their sales enablement organization. If their sales enablement organization doesn't have their crap together, you cannot join that company. Not today, not in complex sales, not when so much is riding on what marketing and sales enablement do for the salespeople. You could end up with a crappy onboarding process. You could lose months or a year of your career as you try to sort of, onboard yourself and learn everything yourself and even create what you need for yourself. Because, hey, we're in sales. We know that the company doesn't owe us hugs, but they do owe us tools that are at least as good as our competitors' salespeople. Don't let your company put you at a competitive disadvantage in the field. The fundamental contract of sales is that if you do well, the company does well. And that's why you need to insist, either at the company you're at or the company you want to go to, insist on a great sales enablement group. The next video, you may be interested in sticking around, the next video is 2 sales enablement folks who create content from the perspective of a salesperson. Until then, I'm Dean. Hope you watch the next video. Have a good day.